Well, what's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. The Cowboys got some good news as far as Donavan Wilson goes. It was a hold your breath moment when we saw that he was carted off the field from practice with a leg injury, going to the locker room with the training staff. Now, this is where um, it is the golden era if you are the fan wanting to know what goes on and stuff in training camp. See, you have to understand back in my day when I grew up, you had no idea what happened in practice. You had no idea what happened in practice. It was not covered. Fights would happen in training camp. Nobody knew. Guys would get injured, there'd be dust ups, there'd be problems between the players and the coach. The stuff was not covered. Nobody cared. It was just like, okay, preseason games and then real games, and that's it. But now we see every single play in practice. Well, not everyone. There are some closed practices, but we see highlights from every day in practice, and we see about this guy not looking good or that guy's looking good and stuff. And we panic because, oh my God, there's interceptions in practices by the quarterback. Well, they're trying some different things. They're trying different guys out. Those are the reason why you do those things in practice. You try things to find out what works and what doesn't. What are the guy's strengths? What are the guy's weaknesses? And so now we get on overload and we overreact about everything. Well, the good news for Donovan Wilson is it's just a strained calf muscle, okay? And the Cowboys would be wise to probably go ahead and say, buddy, we're going to sit you down for the next month. Just start. We're going to make sure that this calf strain does not get acerbated and does not lead into, say, an Achilles tendon tear, okay? We know how those are one of those type of soft tissue injuries that can linger. And it's one of those things that it's like a hamstring. You can play before it's 100%, but you risk tearing it, pulling it again, where it just kind of keeps going on and on and on. And so you're going to get these soft tissue injuries because this kinder, gentler NFL that doesn't do, mini camps. It used to be you'd have 3 mini camps and stuff. You'd have OTAs like out the yin yang that you were literally working out constantly. Now, the good news is you get guys that are like workout machines, like Micah Parsons. Of course, we always see the Zeke Elliott's out there working like crazy, and so on. So, those guys are really in shape. Although, there's nothing like being in football shape. We would go run and run and run and run and run, lift weights and everything else. But until you get out there in the heat with the pads and you're hitting people, nothing really prepares you for that. And the strain on your body, because you don't understand. Let me give you an example. I want you to think about this and equate it to football. They say for every pound that you carry extra weight, it's multiplied by 4. You get me? When you take a step, each one of those pounds is like 4 times. So if you lose 100 pounds, that's like taking 100 pounds off per step. That's just walking. So think if you are a 300-pound guy that's running about a 4.7, 4.8, and you're hitting another guy who's 300 pounds coming the opposite direction. Think about the amount of force that happens in that collision. Think about how your body has to absorb that hit and still continue to try and push. That means that weak spot in your body is going to be found out because the amount of pressure that's going to be put on. So if you've got Donovan Wilson with a strained calf, he's running downhill, and this is where I look back to Tyron Smith, okay? If you ask me, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not. If you think back to where Tyron Smith was the day before he had his hamstring ripped off the bone, you'll remember Micah Parsons put a move on Tyron Smith that literally left him flat-footed. It was just one of those ones. Tyron Smith is moving and trying to get there and couldn't. I believe that he strained that hamstring a little bit there. And when he went out to go out to the linebacker and had to go full speed, that body, that weight, that mass of muscles that's pulling around just gave. And that's the reason why you go through and you take somebody like Donavan Wilson, who he knows the system. We're in the same system we've been in. He knows how to play. And you put kid gloves on him. We need to get to the season healthy and unscathed. There is a razor thin margin when you start losing your top players. And we can't afford to lose our top players. So, yeah, take it easy on these guys. This is the kinder, gentler NFL where the real work happens game time. Get them to the season, get them out there on the weekend football, and let them have at it. I don't know about you. I am so happy that we actually have football to talk about. It is great, as opposed to listening to the talking heads that have just been denigrating the Dallas Cowboys and putting them under the microscope, and they still are, and they will continue to do so. We know that. But the Cowboys, as much as they've been trashed, as much as they say we're bums, as much as they say we can't do it, I have to actually give credit to Jerry and Stephen Jones and Will McClay with Dan Quinn and Mike McCarthy. Because you start looking at these guys and you look at where we've been with some of the players in recent history. I just look at that defensive front now compared to, say, 2018, 2019, and 2020. We are leaps and bounds ahead of where we were. And say what you will about Mike McCarthy, I have a hell of a lot more faith in Mike McCarthy than I did Kellen Moore and Jason Garrett. We're going to see what we're going to see this season. Nothing's promised, nothing's guaranteed, but I think we're in actually a really good position. What we need is, we need help. We need to stay healthy. If that happens, you never know what we got going on. I appreciate each and every one of you guys, as well as you ladies, watching the Joe Boo Sports Report. We'll be going back, I believe, tomorrow, back to the Red Brick House, but don't worry. You know, I did all the plastering upstairs. Got my studio set up right there. I've got the big screen TV. Well, it's not that big. It's only a 32-inch TV for now. But for now, we will be keeping up with the Dallas Cowboys and the Joneses and bringing you all the news on the Dallas Cowboys. Appreciate y'all. Hold on tight because it's about to get live. Peace.